Okay, guys, we are back, and our hair looks great, both of us, and
Yes.
we're fully hydrated, which is good. So, Cherie, the reason I've come on this trip to Cape Breton is because I've been away, like we talked about. I've been away for 15 years. So much has changed in this part of our province, but our province as a whole, while I've been away, but so much has stayed the same. And one thing I think that has stayed the same is the people are still so genuine and so sincere and so kind.
Absolutely.
What was it like for you coming from out of province to now calling this place home? Walk us through that process.
It was really, really easy. Everybody welcomed me. I've got lots of friends on the road that, I have over for dinner. I go there for dinner, which I really didn't do in Ontario. I kind of stayed. Maybe it's because my children were younger, or I had a couple of friends, but I really didn't interact with any of the neighbors. And I lived pretty, out in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of where I live now. So that wasn't different. It was just, I think, just the people.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
It is. It's very interesting.
It's difficult to put a finger on it, what it is about Nova Scotia and the people, but it's like a palpable thing.
Yep.
For me, like I said, coming back, it's so nice to realize that something like that hasn't changed. But talking about what has changed and what will, like what have you seen shift since you've been here and calling this province home that is like worth mentioning? Has there been anything that you're like, whether it be say something in the food scene with people's tastes or priorities, like what have you seen happen, or is it kind of just the same old?
Well, I've been here for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I would say definitely the local food movement is really, I know it's been gearing up for years, but I think with COVID and this year, it really took off. A lot of people, they had the scare that there wasn't going to be any food, So a lot of people grew food that have never grown food before.
Never planted a seed in their life.
Never planted a seed. People grew chickens that never done that before. So I think the local food movement really, really took off this year.
Yeah, which is never a bad thing.
Never a bad thing. So that was one good thing that came out of
exactly. Talking
COVID.
About positives, yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
want to look at something that was positive, that would be it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, it's given people, hopefully, and this is a general sweeping statement, but a new appreciation for what it takes to put a meal together on a plate.
And how much work goes into that food that you're eating. People don't get it. They go to the grocery store, they put the tomato in the bag, and those people that did buy those seeds and actually, had to water and
nurture and care for.
And maybe fail. I think a lot of people don't fail these days. Failure is something that happened years ago. People, they don't fail as much as they used to. And I think when you grow things, like whether it's an animal or food, failure's imminent.
Yeah.
Failure is always waiting for you.
And I also think patience is such an important thing that we don't necessarily practice a lot today, but that for me is such a appropriate analogy when it comes to growing your own food.
Absolutely.
Like you plant a seed.
It doesn't happen overnight.
And that to me comes up, and that analogy comes up so much in the work that I do. Comes up in my personal life as well. Like there needs to be a commitment to the process and understanding that it just doesn't happen. But if you want something really special, if you want something in your life or on your plate, you have to wait for it, and you have to keep moving.
Working at it.
You have to keep moving. You can't stop.
Absolutely.
And that's something as well I think is such an important message that people can take from harvesting, growing, and then harvesting their own food. Is like, it takes a lot, but man, is it ever worth it. Like
that's right.
The high you get off of that gorgeous tomato that you helped facilitate grow from a seed into this beautiful edible
pulling
piece.
a fennel bulb out of the ground,
seeing how big it is,
digging potatoes out of the ground. There's just nothing like it.
Yeah.
You have pride. I grew that.
Yeah.
I felt that when I picked up my chickens.
I bet you did.
I grew those chickens.
Yeah.
I got them when they were a day old, and I grew them.
And now they're going to feed other people and other families.
That's right.
That's so cool.
And I know that they are going to be the best chicken that they've had. Those chickens had great diets, and the meat will be
exceptional.
Exceptional.
Yeah. And don't throw the bones out. Use the carcass, make a soup.
That's right.
Make a stock,
Or,
do
yep,
something.
chicken
right?
stock. Absolutely.
Something, not to talk about Jill and K&M Farms again, but I think it's an appropriate story. She was saying how we were talking about food shortage, and we were all going down this path of food scarcity. And she was saying how her friends, she has a few friends that are from Africa, and how she knows when she watches someone eat a chicken bone who has lived a privileged life and who hasn't. And she was saying her friends from Africa, when they eat the chicken that she raises, they finish everything.
Cartilage,
Everything. Whereas they have some white guy like me, this who had a privileged life. It's like, oh, I don't want to eat the cartilage and the fat, and there's still so much value left on it. Whereas others are almost like eating the actual bone.
That's right.
And I think when we are more attached to our food, understanding how it was produced, where it came from, you're less likely to just, you
have more
waste.
respect for it.
Yeah.
You respect the process, so you respect what you end up with and what you are eating.
And full circle to what you're doing here at GRA with, like you said, you have very little food wastage. And I think that is an appropriate homage to the land, an appropriate homage to the work that you yourself have put in. You're like, no, I'm not just going to be willy-nilly with this. Like, I know what I need. I'm going to use what I need, and that is that.
Yep,
right?
Absolutely. And even just growing the food. I had to say to myself in the spring, how much food am I actually going to grow? Like, am I going to open this year?
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to open this year. I want to have a garden, but am I going to open? So my garden is not as big as it was last year because I didn't know if I was going to
be doing what you're doing.
Use the food. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I could sell the food, but I didn't know if I wanted to get into
going to markets,
doing all that stuff, right? Yeah. So my garden's not as big, but it's plenty big enough for what I need this year.
That's so cool. I love that. That's awesome. I can't wait to have a look at it as well. I'm going to definitely poke my nose around before I head out. So the sentence I've been asking everyone that I've sat down with so far to finish for me is this: Cape Breton is.
Cape Breton is. Cape Breton is, in my opinion, and what I felt when I came here, because I had never been to Cape Breton before I flew in and crossed that bridge. Cape Breton is one of the most beautiful places in the world, without a doubt. When I crossed that bridge and I seen that view, I said, turn right, because this is where I'm going to live. This is in my head. This is where I'm going to live.
Wow.
So Cape Breton is without a doubt one of the most beautiful places in the world. And I've been to Italy, Spain, Mexico. I've been to a lot of different countries, but none of them really compare. I mean, Positano, Italy. This place is as beautiful, if not more beautiful.
Yeah, we're so lucky, are we not?
We are so lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky.
And to be able to do what you're doing here.
To me, if I had a choice to go to BC or here, I would go here.
Well, that's why
I would definitely live here. I have the same seafood coming out of the water. Mm-hmm. But for me, here. And I think the people add a little bit to that.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been to BC a couple of times, but I would definitely, if I had the choice to make again, I would live here.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat.
I've said it a couple of times during this week that there are so many things here that are world class.
Absolutely.
Like, absolutely. Just even driving down the street as I drove past your place and then past it again and then past it one more time, I was looking across the water at the white cliffs. I was just like, that. Where else in the world do you see that? And where else is it so accessible? Like it's right there.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
It's right there.
And there's a little, when I drove past your property, there's a little bridge that you go over, or like a little.
Oh yes. Yes.
It's almost like you're in the ocean. It's
That's
so
right.
low. It's amazing.
And you see cars parked down there. They got, they have their kayaks and they're out kayaking, and who knows? They probably live 40 minutes away, or
Yeah.
No, it's the everything about this place is stunning. It's stunning.
Yeah. For me, it's such an accessible place still, and I wonder if we want for it to be more discovered, or are we wanting to keep it to ourselves?
I think we want it to be discovered.
Yeah.
And I think because of COVID, I think a lot, everybody talks about the staycations this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are exploring not just Cape Breton, but, the Atlantic provinces that maybe they went elsewhere in the past.
Right. Go to Carolina or go to Toronto
or wherever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a big believer in there's no sense of having something if you can't share it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, yeah, while I think we want to try and hang on to the mystique and the beauty that is, Nova Scotia beaches and the Highlands and all these things, but man, I say come one, come all, like that.
Yeah.
In the true Nova Scotian way,
Welcoming.
Yeah, like let's open our doors, open our arms, and just say like, yeah, you're brothers and sisters, so come and enjoy our space.
Yeah, and enjoy the views and everything that Cape Breton has to offer.
Yeah,
the food.
Yeah, the food is incredible. It isn't. I'm learning. It's not just, and I knew this intuitively, but it's not just fish and chips. It's not just fried food. Like there's so much more going on. There's some great young talent in this part of the province as well, as doing some really cool things that I look forward to seeing, talking about 15 years ago. Like look at what's ahead 15 years. Like what could GRA be 15 years from now? You know what I mean? Like there's so much potential.
Right. I hope it's still small and intimate. I don't want it to become a...
No, we're not gonna do like a 300-seat restaurant. No,
I want it to stay pretty much how it is.
But
I want it to stay intimate. I want people in 15 years to still walk through that door and feel like they're not walking into a restaurant. They're walking into their grandparents' farmhouse. Or
my guess in 15 years they'll be walking in, but they'll have to wait 3 hours in a line to get in here.
No, because I can only hold so many people. So.
Well, maybe we do we build a hut on the side and we do we'll sell pizza by the slice or something.
Well,
or
I
who
have
knows?
thought about getting an old silo, a metal silo, and turning that into some sort of,
there you go.
extra space out there.
Who knows? Who knows? So there is, I think there will be some inevitable growth. I think for me, having just met you and not having experienced the service yet, for me, my wish is that, nothing changes, but doesn't stay the same. Meaning everything just gets more refined to your vision in your mind. Like the service just gets better and better. The food just gets better and better.
Absolutely.
Your ability to work with your terroir that you have here just gets even better. So the tomatoes are awesome now, but my God, they're going to be like the best tomatoes in 15 years. Do you know what I mean?
And things change seasonally.
Yeah.
Here, like last year, I had a full tree full of cherries. This year, I have no cherries on the tree. So for whatever reason, I don't know if it was full of blossoms. I don't know if they got hit with a frost or what happened, but just changes like that changes my menu. I had it last year. I won't have it this year.
And that's all, again, that's just learning, right?
That's right. And things that I can't control.
That is huge. Understanding what isn't in your control and what is.
Some things I cannot control, and that is just life.
And that is okay.
So I will have, and maybe I have something different this year that I didn't have last year.
Yeah.
I have blackberries, raspberries.
Yeah.
Gonna have lots of apples, things.
Yeah.
I may have something different this year.
I love it. I love your ability to seemingly just go with it.
Well, when you have a farm and you have animals, you just go with it. There's days
it's not up to you.
It's not up to me. You just go with it.
You're dealing with everyone's mother, which is Mother Nature, and
that's right.
The moment you start to disagree with Mother Nature, she'll quickly correct you and say, "Excuse me, I'm the one that decides how this all goes."
And she did that last year when we had the hurricane go through.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
She says, "Smarten up, everybody."
She said, "That's it."
Yeah.
We're
hitting reset. Speaking of control and no control, you do have control over this. I have 2 questions for you that I've asked every single guest, and we're on 2 years plus of recording these episodes, one every week. So I'm super proud of that.
Okay.
But the questions are these. So it's called the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast.
Okay.
So I have for you, Cherie, the half a dozen have-tos and the half a dozen haven't yets. Stay with me here.
Okay.
So I need from you 1 to 6. You can do one thing or you can do 6 things you've experienced in your life that you feel like our listeners have to do, meaning grow your own tomatoes, meaning support local, meaning a book you've read, a trip you've taken. You talked about some of the restaurants you've been to all over the world. 1 to 6 things that you feel like our listeners have to do.
I probably will just go with 1, and I believe everyone should know how to grow their own food.
I like it.
Everyone. I believe it should be taught in the schools, even at a young age. Everyone should know how to grow their own food, and there is a lot of people that don't know how to grow their own food. And it gives them, we already discussed this, a greater appreciation of the food they buy and the food they eat when they realize how much work goes into it.
Or the food they don't eat that sits in their fridge, goes bad, and they throw it out.
Or the processed food that they eat, you know?
Yeah.
So I believe everyone should know how to grow their own food.
Get some dirt in your fingernails, people.
Get your hands dirty.
Whether
Get
you're
your kids' hands dirty.
Yeah. And whether you're a vegetarian or a vegan or a omnivore or whatever you are,
everyone will eat something grown in a garden.
Exactly. The last one I have for you then is the half a dozen haven't yet. So same idea, but kind of a bucket list, if you will. So I need 1 to 6 things that you've yet to experience. So Cherie Swift's haven't yet.
Geez, what do I want to do? I'm one of those people that if I have it in my head, I just do it.
Like moving to Cape Breton and buying a farm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or waking up in the morning and saying, I'm going to open a restaurant.
Or the day of making the menu.
That's right.
Right.
What would I... That's a tough one for me. Well, I've always wanted to own water buffalo so that I can make my own water buffalo mozzarella.
I need to introduce you to my friend Matt in BC. I do a charity dinner series through my consulting business, and each dinner I do, I focus on a different farm and a different charity. And we did water buffalo. They do both. They do the dairy, so they do the milk and they harvest the meat as well.
Okay.
And it was just incredible. And what beautiful animals too.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's something that I've had it in the back of my head, even when I was looking at this farm. But then I got busy renovating and doing other things. But I think that's something that I would do.
Cool. I'd love to put you in touch. It's called Reverent Acres in British Columbia. And they're doing awesome stuff. So I'd be more than happy. Just like introduction. Say, hey, my friend Cherie.
And I was actually contacting different farms.
Oh, yeah?
Probably 4 years ago.
Okay.
But I was nobody really was into selling, they were still building their herds.
Right.
And because I did go to a water buffalo farm when I was in Italy.
Oh, okay.
And it was just incredible.
I imagine.
It was an incredible experience. Eating the water buffalo mozzarella, it was just freshly made. It was sweet.
It's incredible.
And I always go to, if I do travel through Quebec, I always go to the Atwater Market. There's a cheese store there. And they sell fresh mozzarella.
Yeah.
So traveling through on my way back, I brought some with me and I did pizza and
isn't it so nice?
Just phenomenal.
If you guys can afford it, and I know it's on everyone's capabilities, but if you can afford to buy the real stuff, even from the real stuff from Italy, or if you can get it Canadian made, even better. But it is like, oh my God, it's luxurious.
It is. Yeah. It's sweet. It does not. I understand it's mozzarella cheese, but comparison wise to anything you've ever tried, there's just no comparison.
It takes any pizza
to a level you can never hit unless you have that mozzarella on the cheese.
Exactly.
Buffalo yeah, it's
unreal.
Yep.
I want to say thank you so much, Cherie, for making time for me. Like I said off the top, it is the most valuable thing that we have. You are extremely busy, so I appreciate you making time for me and the listeners. It means the world. And I want to say, although we've just met, we have shared this conversation. We've shared some microphones, and I consider you to be a friend. So if anything I can do to help you in your process, I'm more than willing and happy to do it, to fly the GRA flag. And if you guys are looking to find out more about Cherie and her restaurant here, the best way to do that is?
We have a website. So it's www.earthtotablediningca.com. capebretonisland.ca.
Okay.
And you can have a look at, pictures of our food that we've served. We have a link to TripAdvisor. We have really good reviews on TripAdvisor. We don't have a lot yet, but we're new.
We're building
We're
that.
building.
Yeah.
And you can book a reservation on there, and there's a contact form. If you have questions, you can contact me through the website via email. And yeah.
Perfect. That's it, guys. That's Cherie. I am Brad. This is the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in as you do week after week. If it wasn't for you guys, the show would not exist. I love and appreciate you all. Any last words, Cherie, or is that it? You're good.
No, I just wanted to say thank you for contacting me. And this is my first podcast, so I hope
you did awesome. You did an amazing job. And guys, I'm going to be lucky enough to be coming here tomorrow night for dinner. I'm super excited about that. So stay tuned for an update on what that was like. I'm sure it'll be amazing.
I'm hoping it will be.
It will be.
I'm sure it will be,
I'm
hoping.
It will be. I know it will be. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. Thank you, Cherie, and thank you to the GRA Space for hosting us in this podcast. You know what to do until next time, guys. Be good and do good. That's it. We did it.
Thank you.
Well done. You did so well.
Thank you.
You were